YouTube? Back with another video for you guys. And today we will be talking about a really important topic. We're going to be talking about how to defeat writer's block. Now, before we even get into that, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a spoiler. I have a new project coming out, album/EP. It's called Somewhere. It's in the works right now. I have cover art coming out for it. I'm still, getting licenses and stuff like that. But this will be out on all platforms within a couple short weeks. So I'm really excited for that. And I hope you guys are too. There's going to be a lot of bangers on that. Just like the project I got coming up after that. So make sure you guys stay tuned. And let's get right into it. So we're talking about writer's block, right? Now, what I want you guys to do, I want you guys to stay tuned to the end of the video, because the end of the video is going to be a very important one aspect of how to defeat writer's block that you guys are not going to want to miss. So the first couple ones I want to talk about is make sure you're listening. You keep open ears. You're constantly listening to new music. You're listening to new beats. Now, when I say that, I don't mean listening to a new song and then go back and write that song bar for bar or literally copy the exact same flow and cadence from that song. What I mean is there's times where I've listened to music and I just immediately caught inspiration out of nowhere, right? And there's times where I've listened to beats, like producers are a big one right now. Like everybody's like, oh, I like this producer, I like this. Don't get locked into one producer unless that's exactly how you want to sound and they know exactly how you want to sound and they don't miss. There's a lot of producers like that. But for the most part, what I try to do is I try to find different producers and try to see what kind of flavors they have, what kind of sauce they have. So then maybe I find something, right? Like, say I've been listening to, just an example, say I've been listening to Juice WRLD beats all week, and I'm like, dude, I cannot write nothing. What I'll do is I'll be like, okay, Lucky type beats, or this type beat, or I'll look up Juice WRLD type beats, and I'll look at different producers. What I'm really tending to go towards and move towards in the future is smaller producers. I don't know what it is, but like for me, whenever I listen to producers that have 10K views or maybe even 100K views on every single beat, a lot of the times, which is good for them, they tend to repeat that pattern because they know that it's going to get them that views. And like, excuse me, why wouldn't you do that? Like, why wouldn't you keep doing that? But for the smaller producers, they tend to do different flavored things. They tend to switch up type beats a lot, at least more often than the bigger ones, the bigger producers. So I'll look for smaller producers. I'm talking about like 200 to maybe 1,000, 1,500 views, like maximum. And I'll look through, and what happens is I hear a beat that normally wouldn't be in my wheelhouse. Like, I'm going to put you guys on. For those who listen to Juice WRLD beats, if you were to find the right Dave Blunt's type beat, it's going to spark that up immediately. I don't know, it could, because for me, that's exactly what it did. And I was like, wow.
Oh my God! Wow!
And I'm going to end up putting it on the EP or the album coming out. So you guys will hear that. You guys will hear exactly what I'm talking about. But just stuff like that, like different type beats that you wouldn't normally listen to. The very next thing that I want to talk to you guys about is, I know you guys are, most likely you guys are working, you guys have a 9 to 5, and while you guys are in the car going to work or you're doing whatever you're doing, I know you guys think of like a bar or something, and you're like, oh, that's fire. But like, you're not even listening to music or nothing. Like, you just be focused on going to work, but you'll be like, you'd be like, yo, that's kind of fire. What I tend to do is I write all of that down. And I want to say a good 70 to 80% of the time that I write those down, they have became full songs. I'm not going to say I released all those songs, but they've became full songs because I eventually found that, and I end up finding a beat for that. You know what I mean? So not all the time do you have to find the beat before you find the inspiration or the lyrics. You know what I mean? So sometimes you could find the lyrics before anything. That was a really important one for me to learn. Another thing that you could do is there's like 3 different types of recording and writing. So the first one is obviously just writing your songs. The second one is punching in, and the third one is freestyling. If you can't grasp something with writing, something that I started doing recently is punching in and freestyling. So what I feel like is that it encapsulates a lot of the emotion and feeling that I have better than if I were to write. Now, that's just my opinion. That's not going to be everybody else's opinion. But for me, when I'm freestyling and when I'm punching in, I can get a better grasp on how I want things to sound. And it also comes out how it comes out. And eventually becomes something beautiful. It's like when you're a painter and you're painting, you're just a random thing. Eventually, you start with like a couple brush strokes, a couple splatters here, but that's just the initial start. Afterwards, when you're done, it becomes this beautiful painting. Sorry about that, guys. I know there's gonna be a little bit of a cut in there. Ran out of storage from my YouTubers out there. You guys know how that is. But so the very next thing I want to talk about is a very important point, and so was the very last one that I'll get to later on. But these 2 points that are coming up, in my opinion, they have nothing to do with music, but relative to all the other points, they are very, very important to get used to and to implement into your songwriting strategy, and just all around eliminating the writer's block. So for this, it's going outside.
Go touch
right?
some grass.
I feel like that's not brought up a lot in a lot of the other videos. And if it is, it's not touched on in a specific way that it needs to be. And like I said, this has nothing to do with music, but it's very important. And what I mean by going outside is just going out in the environment, getting around different energies, vegetation, you know what I mean? And, excuse me. And just feeling a different feeling than you were when you were inside. When you're going outside, right? Where I'm at, it's pretty cold. So when I'm out there, there's times where I've gotten like a gust of wind in the right way and felt the right feeling at that time, at the right moment, and everything came together, and I'm like, wow, I just thought of a whole album idea. I have the cover art in my mind, and that works for almost any environment. Like, there's people I know that are probably, or not even that, just that I know, there's people out there that are probably watching this, right? And you guys are in what, California, Florida, wherever you guys are, and you guys can just wake up at 7, 8, 9 a.m. on a Saturday when it's nice out, which it probably is all the time for you guys. You go walk to the beach, and all of a sudden you're like, damn. You guys think of this crazy, like, uplifting song, like, just motivational song, you know, and it helps. It definitely helps, because when you can't even think of words, you go out and you just get this feeling, and you're like, wow. And then eventually it evokes those lyrics that you've been, waiting for this whole time. So that's very important to touch on. You know what I mean? I couldn't have done this video without that point and the very last point that's coming up, because it's helped me so much. I mean, there's songs in the album I have coming out that I've used that literal point that I just made. I've used that to create some of those songs. So the very next point, right, is another very important one that has nothing, in my opinion, nothing to do with music. But more so you in general, is give it time and space. That's super important to me. There's times where I've went months without making music, you know what I mean? Maybe listening to music, but realistically not making music, not listening to beats, not any of that. And it happens sometimes um, by accident, which in my case, it was really by accident and just way of life. Excuse me. But in this case, the way I'm saying it to you guys can do it on purpose. Excuse me. And there's a famous little saying out there, and they're like, what's your favorite food, right? And everybody's like, oh, let's just say pizza. And that's probably a really common one for a lot of you guys. Could you eat that every day for the rest of your life, for every meal? No. It's a really good food to you, and you're like, oh, whenever I eat it, it's really good. But as soon as you start doing it every meal, every day, like I'm not gonna lie, I'm very like I need to switch it up. I'm just me as a person. So if I even ate the same thing for every meal for 2 days in a row, I'm like the third day I don't even want it. So like imagine that for the rest of your life. That's exactly how music is. And another really good analogy is relationships. If you guys, I just want to preface this with I am not a relationship coach. So take this with a grain of salt. But it's helpful nonetheless. If you guys are always up each other's, you know what I mean? You guys never really truly give each other time to miss one another. And I feel like that's really important with music as well, because music is somewhat of a relationship too. Sometimes you have to take a step back, take time and space, and when you come back, you end up making something really great. So when you add in everything else that I've talked about, you go into a new environment, you have new experiences, and you feel all these different energies. And like I said before, the wind just hits you in the right direction. And at least for me, it does. It hits you in the right direction, or the sun shines on you in the right way, or you say you get rained on. And a lot of people just take the glass as half empty. If you take the glass as half full, there's inspiration in many different things. Many different things that people would never really even think. Like people, a lot of times people just regress and just get further from music is what I'm trying to say. But there's things that happen to me where I'm like, maybe they weren't even happy things, but there's things that happen to me where it's like, wow, I've done music after, and I've been like, I've never felt closer to music. You know what I mean? Like you go outside, you take that time, get that space for music. Like I said, the window hits you in the right way. I've thought about whole album ideas, the cover art, like I can literally see it in my mind. The whole thing, every color, everything. And sometimes that's really all you guys need. And I hope you guys take these and learn from them and use what you guys can. I really appreciate all the support in my last video that I did like this. And if you guys can continue to support me, I'm gonna be doing a lot of updates. Hopefully, I don't want to say too much, maybe streams. But what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to subscribe, not even just for more content, but just to become a better artist and to just keep in touch with local artists. And leave a comment down below if you want. And just don't be scared. Let me know how I did, how I can improve, or just leave a question or an idea for that I can use for an upcoming video. Any and all feedback and any of the love and support you guys give me, I'm gonna be appreciative regardless. So with that being said, thank you guys. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and peace out.